Don't forget to subscribe to this channel TKD Health Tips. So today as a part of this we are going to talk about how Einstein Copilot can work with formulas and validation rules. So one of the features of generative AI technology or LM models are its ability to explain things in in layman terms. So generative AI technology is very good when it comes to summarize information or to understand some data and then explain to the user. In Salesforce, many of the time we have to work with the formula fields, and most of the time we have to edit or understand some already written formula fields. Now, if we had the person who had created that formula field alongside us, then he or she could have explained the formula really quick, which would have saved time for the admin or developer. Now, since he knows what the formula is doing, in today's time we have AI assistant which can help us explaining things, and that can really save some time. So even though the actual developer of the actual admin is not there, we can utilize this AI assistant to explain us these formulas in Salesforce. Let's look at how OpenAI's GPT model 4 can help us understand Salesforce formulas, and then we will see how Einstein Copilot can help us in the same manner. So how can I help? So if I see I'm going to ask GPT-4 to help me understand a formula. So we will say explain this formula in Salesforce, and I'll just paste the formula. So in the same formula that we're using to calculate the discounted price, we see the response here. The formula you provided from Salesforce is used to calculate the final price of a product after applying a discount. And then it shows the breakdown. So from the summary, it looks correct. This is exactly what this formula is doing. AI assistant is able to tell us the same thing. And then if you want to understand the formula better, then it has also given us the breakdown, how the calculation is working, right? So we can say that these AI assistant can definitely help us understand formulas, pretty straight formula. But if we had complex formulas that also have been easily explained by this AI assistant, now not everyone is going to copy paste their formula from Salesforce to OpenAI to explain that. So for that, as Salesforce Einstein Copilot can help us understand these formulas. Let's go back to our org, and on the order record we have a discounted price, which is actually a formula field, and that's the exact formula we have given to OpenAI. Now let's look at how Einstein Copilot can help us understand this formula field. So let's go to that field. And if we look for the field called discounted price, it's a formula field. So every time formula field, which means that formula field can be creating on an object or the formula field that we create for a validation rule in an AI enabled org, which means the org where Einstein Copilot is enabled, you will start seeing a button here which is called explain formula. So as you write the formula, you can utilize this feature to explain you that formula. Now let's for this one, we know that this one is calculating the final price after using the discount. Now let's see that a new admin joins and he just want to understand this formula. So he can click on this new one and you will see that Einstein Copilot is coming up. He is on the setup page and here it says that it calculates the final price by subtracting discount from the original price. So this is a very good summary. It does explain what this formula is doing. But if I want to understand this in detail, I can click on more detail and then it takes the formula and it says that the formula calculates the final price of soft drink order by subtracting the discount amount from the original price. It uses the price field from the soft drink orders object and the discount field from the related discount coupon object. If it is using the discount field and from the current object it is using price. So using this feature, it is easy for admin and dev to understand existing formulas and make some changes. And again, just ask the Einstein Copilot if the formula is correct. So using this feature, definitely it is going to help us understand the formulas a little better. Similarly, this which is using explain formulas is also available on validation rules. Because on validation rules, also most of the time we write these formulas. Let's look at this validation rule. I have validation rule on account object. So I will go here to edit object, and I go to validation rule on this account. I have validation rule. Priority cannot be blank, and this is the formula used here. But if I click on edit button, I will start seeing this button called explain formula. So let's click on that, and it says a validation rule to check if active is yes. Industries communication and customer priority is blank. So it's giving us a summary that this validation rule is looking at three values that the active field should be. Yes, industry should be communication and customer priority. If I want to understand that in detail, I can click on more detail, and then we see a more detailed version of this explanation. And so this is the more detailed explanation where it says that this formula is a validation for the account object. It checks if the account is a field is if active field is set to yes, the industry field is set to communication. If all conditions are met, then the validation rule will pass. So it's actually opposite. The formula will pass, which means this formula will be true. And we know that when a formula is true, that means a validation error will be shown on the screen. So when it is what it is explaining that this formula will be true if this condition meets. Similarly, if I go to another object called lead, we have validation called code cannot be blank. The admin or developer can look at the formula to understand, but if the formulas are complicated, then they can just click on this button and it should explain the formula. The formula validates if the lead is in the banking industry and it has a working contracted status and has a blank code. So if a lead is having an industry called banking and status, that lead is currently working, then SIC code cannot be blank, and that's what exactly Einstein Copilot is doing, and you can get more details by clicking on this button. With this feature, wherever we have formula fields, Einstein Copilot can actually summarize that formula field, which will definitely help us understand that formula at a glance, and then we can make certain changes and